Lagi sekali, terima kasih kepada Dr. Syariza dan juga kepada UMT kerana sudi menjemput saya pada petang ini. Tadi saya tengok dalam senarai peserta ada international participant. I will be presenting in English, maybe campur-campur sedikit. Thank you for joining the webinar this afternoon. I'm sure you have been attending many webinar in the last perhaps 2 weeks, and I'm sure you have learned a lot. Some of those webinar actually covers about the how-to, the tools, applications. So this afternoon, I will try to share some fresh ideas, slightly perhaps different from what you have listened from other webinars. And I hope you will learn something new, at least pick up some ideas at the end of this. Sorry? Dr. Reza, anything?
Yeah.
Okay. The title here, when less is more and when more is desirable. So it's actually a question. When less is more and when more is desirable. So that's basically the topic that I'll be sharing this afternoon. I have actually about 86 slides, but don't worry, it's my style. I have a lot of pictures, and if you wait until the end, so if you want to get the slides, I will share the link to download all the slides, and also I'll be sharing a lot of useful resources. And I will give you the link to all these resources at the end of this presentation. So please wait, don't run away. Sila duduk dan jangan lari. Okay, I don't have any interaction kind of activities here. I just go straight to the thing that I want to cover this afternoon. So basically, as you can see here, these are the 3 main things that I would like to share. First, I would like to talk about adapting to a new normal, something we call new normal. Okay, so how do we adapt to a different way of how we do teaching and how the students do learning in this current situation of current pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, and work from home, learn from home. So how do we actually adapt to this new situation? And this adapting to a new situation is applicable to both the lecturers, the academics, and the students as well. Both of us, both parties actually have to do some adjustment. That's the first part. The second part, I would like to touch on the readiness, because I think this is a big issue. When we talk about readiness, there are many aspects of readiness, from the student perspective, from the lecturer's perspective, from the administrator's perspective as well. And the third part is the core or the crux of this sharing this afternoon. I'll be sharing some ideas, just ideas, because I'm not teaching anything, it's just sharing my ideas. And you are free to adopt and adapt some of these ideas. So those are the 3 things that I hope you can take away something useful after this presentation. Now, I would like to start with these slides, the world map. As we know, this is how the world map looks like before December 2019. And this is how the world map looks like in terms of the cases of COVID-19. This was yesterday or 2 days ago, as we can see there. The confirmed cases worldwide is 1.2 million, 65,000 deaths. I think today this figure has increased some more. And this is actually the dire situation we are in now. And this actually has forced changes in a lot of things that we do, that we somehow always take for granted. But now we are forced into this situation. It brings actually a lot of changes in our life, upset our routine, and so on. So it started maybe in December last year, I think, with the COVID-19 cases in China. And then it appears all over the world. And now almost the whole world, we are talking about COVID-19 as that's every day that, the conversation that we talk about COVID-19. But in our case, in the academic context, how does this COVID-19 episode actually change our life? Actually, it has disrupted a lot of things, right? So there's a lot of disruption. In the context of academic, context of education, it has disrupted school. It has disrupted universities and disrupted the way we teach, the way students learn. Create havocs, a lot of havocs. I remember when we started the work from home or restricted movement restriction order. It creates a lot of havoc because now we have to shift all the teaching from face-to-face teaching to online. Just imagine that. Suddenly all the courses, all the teaching has to be done online. For those who have been doing online learning in some form, maybe in blended learning, they are used to blended learning, doing flipped classroom and so on. Maybe it's not really a big thing, but it's still difficult. But imagine for those who are not into online learning all this while, and suddenly they have to learn a lot of new things in order to carry on teaching online. It creates a lot of havoc, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of confusion as well. Although in the last few weeks, things have changed and getting better and better, but still, there are still, some anxiety, and there's still some confusion from time to time. How do we come to terms with this new situation? So, disruption, havoc, anxiety, and confusion. I'm sure we are still dealing with that, right? Now, a lot of people are upset because suddenly we are into this situation and suddenly we find ourselves are not ready to teach online. Suddenly we find that we have to, transform the content that we teach in the online, in the face-to-face class into online and so on. That causes a lot of people to get upset with the issues of infrastructure, issue of internet, not having proper devices like a laptop and so on. So that creates a situation where a lot of people are upset. But I think there's no point to get upset. Initially, yes, maybe. But I think at this point, I think we should stop feeling upset. Because there's no point. We have to move on. Life has to, move on. We have to move on with our life. And we have to adopt and adapt with the new situation. So I think we need a new mindset or a different mindset. Not really totally a new mindset, but totally a different kind of mindset of how we should approach online teaching and online learning. Okay, so we need to have this mindset so that we have an open mind and willing to learn new things without complaining and without lamenting too much, because there's no use of doing that. And apart from mindset, once the mindset is okay, the next one we need to have maybe a different skill set, because it's not like a direct transformation from face-to-face or to online, because to really teach online and to design and deliver our course in the best possible way, we have to learn new kind of skill set. And I think within the last 2, 3, or even maybe 4 weeks, the focus has been actually training our staff, especially those who are not really into online learning all this while, to pick up new skills, to learn new application, new tools, how to create the content online, how to design their course and deliver online using the platform, using the application like webinar application like the WebEx, Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and so on. So this is a different kind of skill set that is actually need to be learned and mastered when we go into online, so that we can conduct our online class smoothly. And of course, once we have learned the new skill set, we should continue to practice this skill set. Learn how to create the content using the new tools that we have learned. Don't stop. So we have to pick up the momentum. Even, I hope, and this is really my wish, after this MCO thing has stopped and things go back to normal, whatever skill set and the so-called new mindset that we have acquired will be continue to be practiced. And so that after this, online will become a second nature rather than something that is, alien or something that is just a complementary. But it is part and parcel of how we design our course to become a good blended learning course. If you follow UNESCO, for example, UNESCO, as you know, is looking at the education matters under the UN body. So UNESCO actually has published some good resources to help educators to deal with a new way of teaching. And UNESCO says that coronavirus is no reason not to learn. We can continue to do teaching, and students can continue to do learning, but we have to adopt to a new way of doing it. And if you go to UNESCO website, you will find plenty of resources actually that you can download, and it is freely accessible, most of them, so that you can actually start to you can pick up new ideas and new way of how we can do online class in a more in a smooth way. Okay. Now, before I go further, this my advice to myself, and to everyone. Sometimes we have to pause and take a deep breath. So keep calm and take a deep breath. Okay. And I believe, reading the news on the internet, it seems like this COVID-19 will be going on for some time. So I think it's good that we have in the mindset that we are in this for a long haul, meaning that we need to continue learning how to do online for a long time, because it will be probably the period of this restricted movement will be extended. So we are in this for a long haul. So be patient and be kind for us, for our students, because we need to have a lot of empathy and try to understand their situation. Okay. Now, I believe when we talk about the mindset, I think we have to accept the fact that what we are doing now, this is a new normal. Okay? This is a new normal. So if we accept that fact and have that kind of mindset, then I think we can start to move on with our life and start to learn whatever necessary in order to make our online teaching, online class in the best possible way that we can. So I repeat these 3 things here. We have to start with the right mindset, the skill set, and then continue to practice. So this session, I was told, is kind of motivational session. So I don't know whether this is really I'm a good motivator or not, but this is how I think we should tell ourselves in order to move forward and feeling like happy doing it rather than feeling being forced to do it. So we have to start with a clear mindset, acquire the necessary skill set, and then continue to practice. The best way to practice is by developing the content, by designing the course, by reading more and more, attending as many webinars as possible so that you can become more skilled. Find the time, make a point. Everyone is busy, of course. We have to do a lot of things, but I would say that this is the way to go. And only yesterday, I came across these quotes from George Couros on my Twitter. George Couros is very active, very prominent kind of educator. He said this, change will come our way. So change is inevitable. So we can go through it or we can grow through it. So if you go by the motion, just go through the motion, maybe we don't learn much because we just do it and go through the motion. But if we choose to grow through it, at the end of this episode of COVID-19, I think we will be a better person, a better educator, a more skillful educator, and we can perhaps be proud to call ourselves a scholar even. And he said, we grow when we seek out solutions rather than let obstacles hinder us. So I can see actually a lot of opportunities in the problem that we have now, in the predicament that we are facing now. If we look at this episode of COVID-19 as opportunities for us to learn new skill, to learn new approach and strategies, then at the end of this, you will come out as a winner rather than just doing it and go through the motion or even become a loser. So these are the old saying that said, always won't open new doors. Or Albert Einstein says, if you keep doing the same thing again and again as an expect, change, then you are insane. Insanity is keep doing the same thing again and again and expect different results. Okay, so this is an opportunity for us. I urge every one of us listening this my presentation today, open up our mind, find time to learn new skill while doing other things. But this is something that we really need to do for our students. Keep the students in mind. Have empathy. So, there's a confusion, as I said earlier. Some people argue some people actually spend time on arguing terminology. I don't understand it, but let me just clarify. Some people say that what we are doing now is not online learning. What we are doing now is more like distant learning or remote teaching. So is it online learning or remote teaching or remote learning? Still, there's some argument about the word teaching, the word learning, which one is better. Take it from me, don't worry about it. Don't bother so much about it, because we need to do what matters, not arguing on the terminology. But anyway, this is some of the school of thought. Some people question that, are we doing online learning now? So this Clint Lelonde, also prominent educators, he said, I don't think what is happening right now can be or should be considered online learning or distance education. So, because according to Clint, online learning is planned, deliberate, and thoughtful in the sense that online courses often take months or even years to develop, not days or weeks. So, if we adhere to this school of thought, then maybe what we are doing now is not online learning. Because many of us perhaps not really plan to do fully online, and we have very short time actually to plan well. We don't actually follow the proper instructional design or ID, they call it. So we just start to upload content. We just start to create content, the video, everything. It's not really a proper online learning according to Karim. To some extent, I agree also, partly. But let's see another well-known names in e-learning, Stephen Downes. He said, no, I disagree. He said online learning should be fast, fun, crazy, unplanned, and inspirational. Coming from educational thought leader from Stephen Downes, so who would you believe? The other one or Stephen Downes here? Stephen Downes said it should be provided by people who are more like DJs than television producers. They should move and swim, be ad hoc and on the fly. Okay, which one are we? And some people say what we are doing now is more like what they coin the term emergency remote teaching, ERT, or sometimes just remote teaching. Basically, remote teaching or emergency remote teaching has been defined as abrupt migration to online learning, a temporary shift of instructional delivery to an alternate delivery mode due to crisis circumstances. So I believe maybe what we are doing now is have some element of online learning because we are doing the online mode, online platform. We use the synchronous, asynchronous mode, and so on. I hope you understand. You already know the meaning of synchronous and asynchronous at this point. Otherwise, you can read about it. Or I have also a video. I have given the link at the end of this presentation, the link to all my videos that talk about synchronous, asynchronous, and the differences and so on. Yeah. But anyway, maybe what we are doing here, if you want to be clear, this is something what we call emergency remote teaching, because we basically abruptly migrate from the face-to-face into online without much preparation, without much training, much necessary skill and so on. If you like to read this article, the difference between emergency remote teaching and online learning, once you download my slide, you can just click in the PDF. You can go to the full article and you can read about it if you're interested to learn more. Okay, so are we clear? Online learning and emergency remote teaching. Yes, basically they are more or less the same thing, except we can say that remote teaching is something that we do, in the crisis situation where we are not doing the full-blown, well-designed kind of e-learning or online course. Okay. Now, when we move from physical face-to-face class to online class, it's not easy for most people. Even those who are familiar with online, all this while we are doing blended learning. We are not doing fully online learning. So it is an issue for most people, and we are still struggling. But we have to get on with our life. We have to get on with our teaching. So if you see here in this slide, if we really want to create a proper, successful online learning ecosystem, there are three components or three dimensions that we need to look at. Of course, we should start by looking at our learners, our students, their readiness. So their readiness in terms of the mindset, in terms of their expectation. Do we know what they expect out of our online class? What about their accessibility, learning style? What about their digital competency? We cannot take for granted that because they are millennial generation, they are very well versed with technology. Actually, not really. What about their social and emotional being? So these are the aspects that we need to look at, be sensitive on the learner's readiness here. We need to have empathy here to our students. We need to check with our students all these aspects. what about the teachers' readiness? Who want to empathize with teachers? Of course, the university, the administrators, changing the role from face-to-face traditional teaching into online is very intimidating for some people. Transitioning to online is not easy. It's not something that can be done smoothly
It's 3
overnight.
o'clock.
What about the skill set and the mindset? The interest. Some of them, previously before COVID-19, they declared that online is not for them. They are not tech savvy. And suddenly they are being kind of forced into this situation. Teaching style. Okay. So what another dimension of successful online learning ecosystem is on the so-called remote teaching readiness in terms of infrastructure, technical, design and development of the online course, delivery, content strategy, instructional strategies, assessment, which is a big issue and a big concern as well. What about copyright issue? Because when you go online, if you open to public like this webinar here, everything will be scrutinized, including your content. So there might be a copyright infringement. So you don't want to get sued because of trying to share and will end up in hot water, right? So these are the issues that we really need to take care or be concerned. So the institutional support here is very, very important. Okay. Now, when we look at the online learning itself, for our students, from the students' perspective, and also from the staff or the lecturer's perspective, we can have 8 dimensions of readiness here. Okay, one is something what we call self-directed learning or self-regulated learning. I have a few slides on this one later. Actually, this is now the time to foster for our students to nurture, to foster the so-called self-directed learning or self-regulated learning. They now need to adopt a mindset to be more independent. It's not easy, I know. It's not easy for them, it's not easy for us, because even in the face-to-face situation, our students has been to large extent dependent on us. But now, with online, it's become more critical now for them to become self-directed learners. Self-directed learning or self-regulated learning. They need, both the student and the lecturers need to have to change the mindset and to have a high motivation in order to keep the momentum. What about the devices and connectivity? Digital competency or ICT competency. What about the communication? How do we now communicate in the online environment? Embrace online culture, because it has to become a culture. It has to become online learning has to become a second nature sooner or later. So that when we do online, we don't feel like we are doing totally different thing. Okay? And the element of empathy is even more important in the online environment because of the distance, because of the absence of physical kind of interaction. So we need to understand more, about our students' emotional being. And finally, how do we promote team working in the online environment? So these are the 8 dimensions of readiness that all of us should focus on when we design our online class or online course. Always keep this in mind. I'm going to elaborate this briefly on some of these elements. So, in order for us to adapt to the online environment and transform our face-to-face into online teaching, the first thing that we have to keep in mind is to start with the students in mind. Always start with the student in mind, not starting with us, but starting with the students, because they are the point of interest to us. Okay. So when we look at how we can reach out to our students in terms of the internet connection, we know we can divide the student into three groups. One group is having a good internet connection, or we call it high bandwidth. And the other group of students, they do have internet connection, but very poor internet connection or low bandwidth. And the other, maybe less fortunate group, they don't have any form of internet connection at all. So when we go online and when we deliver our online class or online course, it's very important that we keep in mind even those students that have no internet connection. But how do we design such a course? Okay, so I think for the first and the second group, we can do a lot. But for the third group, I think we need to find other ways. And we may have to resort to the traditional way of, distant learning, correspondence course in the old days where we deliver things through the post, using the printed notes. Maybe now we can deliver our learning content through pen drive or similar tools or similar equipments. Okay. Now, so when we look at these three group of students, when we design and deliver our course, we should look at the lowest denominator. This is what I mean by consider the lowest denominator, those the least fortunate, so that no one is left behind, no one is deprived of learning. Okay. So now the title of this topic, this presentation is "When Less is More." Now, why I raise this point? Because naturally, the tendency is when we start to teach online, the standard common questions asked is how do we deliver, how we transform our content, the face-to-face classroom into online course. That is the most, to me, the common question asked. And in fact, in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, the focus has been transforming the content into online content. And by doing that, sometimes the tendency is to try to create so much and then dump it to the students on our learning platform without actually thinking about the students' ability to access those content. Remember the three group of students, those without an internet connection or with very poor internet connection. So I think we have to be careful not to get trapped in that situation. We have to adopt a mindset that how do I deliver less content or less material and not compromising in terms of the learning outcome, in terms of the core knowledge or skill that we want to deliver to the students, or we want the students to acquire based on the learning outcome. How do we do that? Less is more. Okay. Of course, always not easy to do that, but this is the kind of mindset that we need to use. Can we deliver less content? How do we do that? Because in the face-to-face situation, 14 weeks, we have the PowerPoint for each class. When we go to the class, we just fire up our PowerPoint and start talking. Because we want to deliver the content, right? But maybe we need to change the mindset. That's why I said the mindset, the skill set. The mindset now is maybe different, even in the face-to-face. Why not we use this mindset? Don't focus too much on content. Don't focus on covering the syllabus. But we need to design our course in such a way that by getting the students to do, for example, some activities, some problems, solving problems, doing some project and so on, we empower the students to uncover the content. This is what active learning is about. The real meaning of active learning is to get students to really do the activities that we have designed, and those activities actually to get them to really engage cognitively to use their brain, and then to think, to do research, to do reading, and so on. And by the process of doing that, actually will let them to uncover the content. Rather than we give them all the content, but we design the course in such a way through the activities, series of activities, problems, and so on, and that would allow them to uncover the content. This is actually a totally different mindset. So, less content. Now, looking at the content that we want to deliver in the next few weeks online, can we sort them out between the essential or critical and important? Essential, must have, critical, because this actually would give the core knowledge, the core skill. That is part of the learning outcome. But we have to trim out which is important but not critical. So, I'm sure all of us are very familiar with this so-called how do we prioritize our tasks. But in this case, I just slightly modify. How do we prioritizing content for remote teaching? Sorting out the critical, must have, and trim out the important but not critical. So we have here importance, critical. So number one here, this one must have, by hook or by crook. Critical and important, do it now. That's the content that you want to develop now. Okay. Number two is important but not critical. Trim that. Or maybe that will come later, or maybe you can deliver that through the learning activities that you can design for the students, quizzes and so on. Important, not critical, and not important, not critical. This one maybe, okay, dump it or use it as like a reading activity. So, the main message takeaway today, less content. Less is more. Okay? Now, the first part here, critical and important. We must, maybe now we design it, we chunk it down into modular, and then we deliver in the form of small content, in the form of like 3 minutes video, so that the students can can go through the material and still engage with the content. So this is what we call micro learning or micro content. How to deliver more for less. This is a concept of bite-sized learning or micro learning. The process of learning through short, digestible, and well-planned units. Learn how to chunk down your content and maybe deliver that in the form of short video. Doesn't matter if you want to use Loom or Screencast-O-Matic or just recording it in a PowerPoint. Those are the tools. But the most important is how do you chunk them so that you can deliver in the small standalone content. Okay, and this is good because online people cannot focus the long content. For example, the presentation now is already 1 hour, slightly more than 1 hour, and I know that people probably are doing other things on different window. But it's okay. It doesn't really matter. But address the issue of concentration span of our student. Some people say concentration span about 4 minutes, but research has shown it's only 8 seconds or 9 seconds. So that's the reason why we want to chunk and make the content as short as possible, but you can have series of them. Okay. So the concept of microlearning is not new, but the concept is really easy to understand. Okay, it makes sense to break down content into a small, manageable segment, and then you can arrange them in your learning platform according to the lesson. Okay. Now I have a slide here, but I'm not going to go through detail. You can have the slide later. These are the steps. how you can create the so-called micro content, and what are the things that you need to pay attention to in terms of the approach and the strategy to create your micro content. Okay, so you will have this slide. So I will not dwell much on this. Now, less is more. Remember the second group where students have internet connection but very poor connection, or very we call it low bandwidth. So how do we address this issue? So we need to deliver content in the lesser content, the video in the small format, in the light format, and so on. So this is where we can use application like WhatsApp or Telegram. Okay, and I'm not going to explain much here because I have a series of video, and I have given the link also in the last slide, which you can download together with the PowerPoint later after the presentation. So, but you can go, if you want to learn more, you can watch this video, teaching using WhatsApp or Telegram in COVID-19 time, delivering low bandwidth content to everyone with phone but poor internet connection. There's another video also, creating a short lesson using WhatsApp or Telegram. Again, the link can be found on the last slide. So create a lesson with podcasts. Don't forget that the easiest way to deliver content is by using the audio. As simple as pressing the microphone button in Telegram or in WhatsApp. Or you can create a proper podcast, which I have shown how to do it in this video. What about the video? If you still want to deliver video through WhatsApp or Telegram, of course you can still do that, but make sure your video is short, okay, and also convert it into format that is very light, into format like into low resolution like 360p or 480p, and I've actually talked about it in this video. If you want to learn more how to optimize video content for WhatsApp or Telegram lesson, okay? So feel free to go through this content. Okay, what about the assessment? When we talk about less is more, can we have less assessment? Well, why not? I think we have to be more selective in the type of assessment that we do. Even in this case, I'm talking about less high-stake assessment. What is high-stake assessment? Examination, for example. Now, when you have the exam component 60% or 70%, that's the high-stake. Because and that's the reason why the issue of cheating and so on, because the students want to get that portion 60%, that will actually have a high impact on their grade. So in USM, actually, we have reduced the final exam. Those who still want to do exam, we have reduced it to 20% to make it low stake. Okay, and you need not to have the exam in the traditional way, but you can do a series of assessment that would be equivalent to the exam. Okay, so maybe we can have less high stake exam. Okay, that's the less is more. What exactly that we need more? Actually, we need more of this. Yeah, so I'm going to share some of this. We need more of purposeful learning design. Okay, if we want to do a proper online learning rather than so-called emergency remote teaching, rather than ad hoc kind of online learning, if you really want to develop a proper, comprehensive, well-designed online learning, you need to learn the proper design. You need to know some basics of online course design. So that's what I mean by more purposeful learning design. So let's change the mindset. Rather than spending our time so much on creating content, because now you want to trim down the content to the most critical and most important must-have. So now you can have some more time to focus on the learning design of the course itself. Okay? Be a learning designer. Take the mindset of a learning designer, not just being a teacher or a lecturer. So these are the common things as a 21st century educator. All these 1 to 6: critical thinking, communicate clearly, work collaboratively, embrace culture of online learning, develop creativity, utilize connectivity. All these aspects need to be considered when we design our online class or online course. Okay. Again, you have this slide. I don't have time to really elaborate on this one, otherwise it will take longer. But I like this model, and I hope you can read more. You can just Google Julie Selman's 5-stage model here. There are many models actually to design good online course, but to me this model makes sense. So there are details of this you can find online, or there's also a lot of YouTube video on this one. So I'm just sharing with you the model here so that you can explore further. Maybe I can make also another video on this one separately, but in the meantime you can explore because this model really makes sense. At least in terms of the design, these are the stages that you can take to design a well designed online course. Okay, and when you integrate technology, especially using online, and integrate technology into your online course, this model, SAMR, SAMR, substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition, is among the popular model that we can use when you integrate technology into your online course. So remember, we need to integrate the pedagogy and the technology seamlessly. So this model really makes sense to me, and I hope you can explore further. Okay, so learn to integrate technology purposefully and effectively, rather than using technology, blindly, without proper understanding the underlying and the underpinning theory of pedagogy and so on. Then you won't be able to achieve a good learning design in your online course. And skip this one. Okay, what else do you want more in your online class, your online course? We want more activities for cognitive engagement. Engagement is a big issue in online course. Well, even in the face-to-face traditional classroom, think about how much really you engage your students. By and large, perhaps 80% of the time, we show the PowerPoint and just talk. Very little engagement, generally. Okay? And what's more, in an online course, actually we need even more engagement. But engagement, there are many different types of engagement. I think one of the most important is engagement in terms of the cognitive engagement. And in order to do that, we have to create activities. Remember, don't focus so much on content, but you can actually focus on time. Okay? On the activities. So, remember, don't focus on covering the syllabus, but empower the students to uncover the syllabus, uncover the content by designing the activities that engage the students cognitively. So, how do we do that? It's not easy, again, but these are the 3 things at least. If you learn how to do it online, in the online version, because problem-based learning has been around for a long time, but that's in the face-to-face situation. How do we adopt PBL or problem-based learning or project-based problem-based learning in online situation? Scenario-based learning. I love scenario-based learning. That's really put the students into the thinking mode and really go to the high level of Bloom taxonomy. Please explore scenario-based learning and challenge-based learning. I've done one video on this one. Okay, challenge-based learning. This one video which I posted 2 days ago or 3 days ago, a model for challenge-based learning, and I really love this one, and I really encourage all of you to check out this one. And I've found one good model of challenge-based learning that everyone can do, but it's not easy to design one. But if we can do this, that's, to me, would be fantastic. Okay. So I've given the link to this website also in the last slide, so don't worry. But find time, go to this website. Okay. And on this website, you will find many courses are offered free for the time being. Go into one of the courses, especially those relevant to your subject, and sign up. And this is what the example of the insight in one of the course is actually on basic fundamental of statistics. So as you can see here, I can see the students progress, my progress here. And I can see here the deadline is Friday, May 22nd, and I have 47 days left to complete the course. And I've done something here. You can see my progress here is 25%. I need to achieve 70% to pass the course. But the one that I want to highlight, the most important part I want to highlight here, you can see the way they design their course. They don't actually focus so much on content, although they have content here. Okay. But they design each unit of the lesson by series of challenges. Okay, and in each of these challenge, I forgot to capture maybe I can take you to the website. In each of the challenge, it consists of a series of questions, and the questions is actually designed. The questions are designed in such a way that when the students go through and answer each question, that is where they will uncover the content. That is where they will learn the concept. That is where they will apply the concept. And it will take them higher and higher into the Bloom taxonomy. This is a very beautiful, very powerful way of, if you want to design your course delivery in the form of challenge-based learning. The approach is like this. The student can start to do the challenge and go through the series of questions, or if they get stuck, they can read the content. The content can be the short video provided by the lecturer, can be reading material and so on. When they get stuck, they can start the reading and go back and do the challenge, continue the challenge, or they can start by studying all the content first and start the challenge. If they get stuck, they can go back again to the content and repeat the process again until they have done all the challenges in all the unit. So, my friends, my colleagues, if you want to know what is active learning is, this good example that I found so far that really gets students into the mode of thinking throughout the course. So, if I just quickly go to this website, the website of this course, here. So I'm already in the course here. Okay. So I can click the challenge here. So I can see I have done 1 out of 4. So I'm going to do challenge 1 now. And this is the challenge also when we do live online webinar like this, where you are eager to show something on the screen and things coming out very, very slowly. For some reason, the internet is very slow nowadays. Okay, so while waiting for that, I just go back to my slide. But to get the idea, I hope. Please explore this one. I've given you the link in the last slide, and I'm sure you will like the idea. If you don't want just to give content, this is how you can design your work using so-called challenge-based learning. Okay. Now, so we want more activities. Now we want more alternative assessment. For a long time, even in our face-to-face traditional class, what kind of assessment that we do? We get stuck with 3 or 4 assessment: quiz, dissertation, project. What else? Okay. Actually, there's so many different kind of alternative assessment. And when it comes to online assessment, we have plenty of choices we can make. Okay. So, Dr. Fauzia, Associate Professor Dr. Fauzia actually has presented one webinar a few days ago on alternative assessment in times of crisis. You can find the video. I think the link. I think for people from UMT. I don't know whether they have uploaded to the YouTube, but you can get you can check with your people. Your teaching and learning center, whether they can share the recorded video of this. But this is actually a very good session. If you want to learn more how to do alternative assessment for your online course, listen to this recorded webinar because there are a lot of ideas there. Okay. But if you are the type of people who like to read on your own, try to get this book. And this is one of the best books they can find: Assessment Strategies for Online Learning, Engagement and Authenticity. Okay. So in this volume, practitioners will find not only an indispensable introduction to new forms of assessment, but also a number of best practices as described by experienced educators. Okay. And I would encourage you all go to Faculty Focus website. It's one of my all-time favorite. If you go to Faculty Focus, I'll take you to the online now. Oh, still not coming up. If you go to Faculty Focus website, the link again I have given also. Everything that I share here, the link I have shared in the slide. So when you go to Faculty Focus, go to search here, and just what do they have on assessment? Online assessment. Online assessment. Okay. And okay. So wow, there's so much material here you can find on this website on the topic of assessment. Or you can go to free report here, and you can select the category, maybe in this case online strategies, and these are the white paper. For example, here, strategies for assessing online learning, strategies, challenges, and opportunities. Feel free to download to your hard content and study all this material. Faculty Focus, ladies and gentlemen, is my favorite website. I always come to this website to find material for my own reference. So, rugi besar is such a waste if you don't go to this and learn from this website. Okay? Now, what happened to this website? So slow to, never mind, I give up. But I hope you can explore afterwards. Okay, it's 3:30 now. I have I think about 10 more slides to go. We are talking about what are the things we want more in our online course. We want more student engagement. Okay. So I'm not giving you a good example here. I'm not walking my talk because in my webinar here I don't do much engagement because I want to give you more. So I don't have time to do engagement. Okay. More student engagement. So I want to share one of my online course, my MOOC USM book here, Engaging Online Learners. So I'm promoting this course to you here. But I have designed this course, a very comprehensive course. Will probably take 20 hours to complete this course. But if you want to learn how to engage online learners, what are the different models you can use? What are the strategies? Come to this course, register, and take your time to go through and pick up all the ideas. Okay. But when we talk about student engagement, for those on distant learning education, ODL, they should know this. This is one model that you can use to guide you to develop the engagement element in your online course. This is what we call the community of inquiry, theoretical or COI, theoretical framework for engaging online learners. Okay, so we have the social presence, cognitive presence, and teaching presence. So how do we get all these three elements in our course design? So in my course just now, in the MOOC just now, I have deliberated and elaborated on this one. Feel free to explore. By the way, the diagram that you are looking at now is actually an interactive diagram. Here, okay, I'm using this application called Genially. It's free. You can give it a try. So this is actually an example of interactive infographic here. Then I put my cursor there. You can see the pop-up text to explain more description about what is social presence, some animation of the icon there. You know, when I go here and I click, something will pop up. Yeah, okay. So takes time because maybe I think the internet speed. So these are so you want to learn more about student engagement in online course, study this model, the community of inquiry theoretical framework for engaging online learners. For those doing online course, they should know this community of inquiry. So now you know, please explore for your own good to help you to design the element of student engagement in your course. But when we talk about engagement in general, whether it's face-to-face class or online, these are the three things: behavioral engagement, effective engagement, cognitive engagement. If you can blend these three elements of engagement in your course, whether it's face-to-face or online, you will be able to hook the student, just like you hook the fish. Okay, they will get engaged, because you capture their attention. They get engrossed in the learning activities. They get engrossed in the problem solving. So they get hooked. Okay. So remember, I mentioned about cognitive engagement through problem-based learning, through scenario-based learning, challenge-based learning. So that's what I mean by cognitive engagement. What about effective engagement? I have one slide to talk about this a little bit on this aspect, but let's move on. So there's another model that I want to share with you. Again, I'm just showing you the idea here. I'm not going to elaborate. You can Google SCORE for student engagement, SCORE model for student engagement. And basically SCORE stands for S, the need for mastery, C, the need for understanding, O, the need for self-expression, and RE, the need for students' involvement with others, peer interaction, and so on. Okay, so feel free to explore this one if you want to learn more and interested to learn more how to improve or how to enhance student engagement in your course. Okay, and again, very quickly, these are some of the things you can do in order to promote engagement online, because we want to have more. Remember, we want to have more of student engagement. Okay, interaction, dynamic, mutual learning environment, builds sense of community, feedback, short lectures, short content, okay, gamification, storytelling, and real life example, real life project, online collaborative project, and so on and so forth, reflection. Okay, right. So feel free again to questioning. Yeah, I like this one, questioning. So these are only some of the things when it comes to student engagement, some of the ways or strategies you can do. You don't have to do everything, but pick 2 or 3 and do it well. Learn how to do it well. Okay. Now, I want to share with you this book, which you can download free. Again, the link, everything given in the last slide. This is called Adding Some Tech Variety. If you're really interested to do more student engagement and create activities in your online course, and you don't have ideas how to do it, download this book. Written by Curtis Bong, a prominent professor from Pennsylvania State University, a very prominent figure in online learning. He has provided this book free. So that's his Amal Jariah. In this book, you will find 100 plus activities for motivating and retaining learners online. Oh my God, 100 plus. I think you don't need 100. Just choose 10 from this book and do it well. That's good enough. But you have 100. What is there to complain? Okay? So 100 plus activities. You will never run out of activities or ideas how to engage yourself online once you read this book. But if you appreciate the content of this book and you use some of the ideas, take time to email the authors and say thank you or tweet him. Yeah, he's on Twitter, by the way. Okay. Now, what else? We want more social and emotional learning. The short acronym here is SEL, S-E-L, social and emotional learning. Remember, when we talk about engagement of student engagement, we have cognitive engagement, which form a large part of our course, and that is actually a large part of the learning outcome. But don't forget affective domain. Don't forget about the students' emotional brain, social brain. So how do we integrate that as part of the learning design of our course? Okay. So the question is, how do we or can we build something that can effectively support social presence and community in an online environment? If you recall the previous slide, community of inquiry research now. We have social presence, teaching presence, and the cognitive presence. Okay, so the social presence is one component of that. Okay, and we want learners to be more independent. Okay, so this is where we want to teach and foster the so-called self-directed learning in our students. We must teach our students to be more independent. Teach them how to be self-directed learners. Okay, using the self-directed learning approach. This is actually a process in which learners take responsibility in understanding their learning needs, establishing their learning goals, and implementing learning strategies and evaluation. NOLS. This is actually the self-directed learning comes from the adults learning principle. So NOLS is one of the well-known person in this area. So please read more about self-directed learning and teach your students to be self-directed learning. Teach them to be more independent. What about self-regulated learning? It's actually quite close, but self-regulated learning is more like getting the students to have so-called this is definition actually. Students can be described as self-regulated to the degree that they are metacognitively, motivationally, and behaviorally active participants in their own learning process. They are very active, very proactive. Not only active, but they are proactive because learning is something that they really want to do it for themselves, not something that is forced on them or imposed on them. Okay, and we need more of so-called social and emotional learning. This is the affective domain. Just now, these are basically interrelated sets of cognitive, affective, and behavioral competencies: self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, relationship management, and responsible decision-making. We want to teach our students to be more independent, to have their own, thinking, to be more confident in making decisions, more resourceful, to have more grit, to have more resilience, things like this. So they need to be strong emotionally, and intelligently, social intelligence also. Have this social intelligence skill as well. More communication between teacher and the student, between the student themselves. We need to reach out to our students, especially in this situation now where they are isolated maybe in their own place. So we need to reach out to them through even, make call, reach them through email, or reach them in the learning platform through discussion board or through videos. Okay. And also more feedback. Because feedback is very important. I need to move this around. Feedback is where the real learning takes place in an online environment. Feedback is actually very, very powerful. Okay, don't forget to do to give feedback to your students. More creativity. Okay, more creativity. Tap into students' creativity and passion. Remember, rather than giving them content, why not give them a problem, open-ended assignment where they have to really put their thinking hat and get them into the thinking mode or creative mode, be innovative and so on. Okay. Right. And finally, more fun. Finally, I'm sure you are thinking when I'm going to finish. More fun. Well, learning can be fun. Not everything we do have to be very serious. So, put some humor and encouragement. How to do that? I think we need to be creative. There's no actually right and wrong way of doing this. We have to be creative here. How to put the element of humor, and how do we encourage our students to be always feeling positive, feeling enthusiastic to learn, and always feeling highly motivated. Okay. So let's loosen up a bit. Finally, I repeat again this slide. Change will come our way. We can go through it, or we can grow through it. Go for growing. Yeah, we grow when we seek out solutions rather than let obstacle hinder us. Always want open new doors. So these are the resources. All this, when you download the PDF of the slide, you can just click and it will take you to the website or to download. For example, some of this you can download. And finally, my slide. The summary. Take home messages. First one, mindset, skill set, and practice. Start with the mindset, the right mindset, then acquire the skill, and then continue to practice. Have a content and learning design strategy. Take the mindset of learning designer. Remember, engagement. Keeping learners' interest using appropriate tools of technology. Use technology to leverage on behavioral, affective, and cognitive engagement. So those are the 4 take-home points or messages for you. I hope you have learned something useful today. So I just want to wish you, before I answer your question, just want to say stay safe, stay put, sila duduk dan jangan lari. And from Steve Jobs, stay hungry, stay foolish. Stay hungry for knowledge. Stay foolish so that you can be always creative and innovative. And from me, my message here, stay strong. So that's all. And there's the link. Don't worry. You need this link, right? Or you just take the picture. Then after this, you can go to this link. You will download the PowerPoint, the PDF format. Together, you have the link to all the resources that I mentioned in this presentation. So that's all for now. I think we can go to Q&A. Dr. Shariza, sorry, I know this takes quite long, but I think I've covered most of the things. Over to you, Dr. Reza.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof. Karim. For
Can I stop the screen sharing or? Oh, I just leave it here dulu.
Just leave it here at the moment.
Okay.
Participant can.
Ada soalan kah?
Okay. Thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, you put on my WhatsApp.
I put in one of the WhatsApp. There's one participant sent. And please, for others, if you have any.
Okay, I read the question yang ada dalam WhatsApp ni. Today, growing numbers of colleges and universities, including UMT, among many others, are temporarily cancelling their face-to-face classes to deal with the impact of COVID-19 situation. Or, in other words, you are moving from face-to-face classes to virtual learning environment. As a university's training provider like PBI, Talent and Innovation Development Center, what are the best strategies, action that should be taken to support educators and students instead of organizing remote teaching and learning? Could you please suggest us a few more actions to help UMT's educators? Well, our center, CDAE, Center for Development of Academic Excellence, of which I'm the current director, we are also doing professional development training for our staff over three campuses: Penang Island, Ibu Tebal Engineering Campus, and Health Campus in Kelantan. So, in the current situation, because of the movement restriction order, is it movement? Because of we are not able to have a face-to-face physical classroom, then the only way is by going online. And it depends on the nature of the training or the workshop. I think if it's a professional development type, like what we are doing now, it's perfectly okay to do it online. In fact, it's even better because we can get more people to attend. It's very flexible. Those who cannot join can always come back and watch the recorded version of the session. And we can, in fact, I think we have more flexibility in terms of when we can do the session. People can have more interaction because online they can post questions more freely. So I think it's not really a big issue. In fact, in the future, I mean post-COVID, perhaps in USM at least, I think more and more of our trainings will go online. Okay, like the 1 hour, like 2 hour session, perhaps the 1 full day kind of workshop we can carry on doing the face to face. But a short, like 1 hour, 2 hours kind of session like this, we can go online and we can save cost and become more flexible. We can design the so-called just-in-time learning on demand kind of thing. If people demand to have a short 1 hour workshop to learn one specific skill, we can put something and doing it very quickly. Let's say tomorrow, then we can announce today. Then those who can join, they will join. Otherwise, they can watch the recorded session. So to me, online is very suitable for this kind of professional development or training kind of workshop or professional development. Yeah. So okay, let me see whether I can see other.
Is there any more question from the participant? You can type at the chat section again.
Should be in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Can see Dr. Nizam here. I don't see any question in the chat, so there's no question asked because I think they have asked those questions in the many other webinars before, maybe. So, do you see any question, Dr. Reza, Sharifa?
No.
No, so people don't ask questions.
Yes. Prof, there's one at the chat, Prof. Oh, public
Sorry?
chat disabled. Nazir.
Ya, Doktor.
Public chat has been disabled.
Macam contoh lagi, iPad ni Saudi
Enable lah, public chat. Public chat.
Enable.
Enable lah. Okay. Prof, by
Maksud tak dikira tu, dia tak hargakan.
I would like to
Dia memang
student investor learning.
Education. Kalau kita
There's one question in the chat, Prof.
Okay, from
Isma Rosila.
Isma Rosila. I would like to know more about engaging students in distance learning. Which I have covered today. If I can go back to the slide. In distance learning, area, this model community of inquiry, COI, is very well known. It's very well known. So I would strongly encourage all of you to explore this one in my online course, which is this one, and the link is given in the slide. If you come to this course, my MOOC course, open to everyone, engaging online learners, on unit lesson 2, under models for learners engagement here, okay, models for lesson topic 4 here, topic 4, okay. framework for or models for learners engagement. I have lesson 1 here, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4, lesson 5. Very comprehensive. Okay, so I encourage you all to come to this to learn more. I actually explain about community of inquiry here. What is the meaning of community of inquiry? And there are some activities there. Okay, basically there are 3 things for student engagement in a ODL or open distance learning situation. You need to have social presence. Okay, you need to have teaching presence, and you need to have cognitive presence. Okay, so these are the 3 things that you need to explore and design it into your course. For example, just now I mentioned briefly about cognitive presence, which simply means this thing is working. The extent to which learners are able to construct and confirm meaning through sustained reflection and discourse. So when we design the students' learning activities, it can be through problem-based learning, it can be from scenario-based learning, challenge-based learning. So this is where you engage the students cognitively. They have to put their thinking hat. They have to apply their critical thinking. This is where you take them to the higher order thinking, the Bloom taxonomy. So if you design that into your online course, then this is where you have the cognitive presence. Okay. So again, I have explained very detailed here in this part of this in this model, community of inquiry. That's the answer for student engagement in any online course, not only in distance learning situation, but in any online course. Okay, so I hope that will answer. But of course, don't forget also the other model. In order to get this so-called behavioral engagement, affective engagement, cognitive engagement, behavioral engagement. Sometimes you can see the students online, they are so into it. They are very active, they're sharing a lot of things, they are helping their peers and so on. But when it comes to the assessment, the quiz, for example, they are not doing well. So in this case, we have the students which actually engage behaviorally.
It's 4 o'clock.
But not cognitively. So I'm not expert in this, but this is from my study, my reading. Actually, if we understand all these three elements here, we can really design our course, of course, slowly, to have these three kind of engagement to be integrated seamlessly. Okay, what else? Any more?
One more question.
Questions?
What is the best way to replace exam by Dr. Awanis?
Awani, sorry. Dr. Awani. Oh, I know Astro Awani. What is the best way to replace final exam to online assessment? Well, we can do without exam. And in fact, it's my dream through micro-credential approach to dispense with exam, to go without exam, to do without exam at all. Think about it. Final exam 60% or 70% even. We put the students 3 hours, 2 hours or 3 hours, and expect them to really perform, answer all the questions, and then we judge them. We judge their so-called competence. We judge that they have achieved the learning outcome from the exam. I'm always of the opinion that final exam doesn't give the true reflection of the student's competency. That's why the reason why we can see that those graduate with 2.5, 2.8, 3.0 sometimes can perform even better in the job, in the workplace, compared to student with 3 or 4.0. Students tend to spot question in the exam. So, if we now can reduce the exam component or even replace altogether, and then replace that with so-called the learning activities. Some can be the formative assessment if we design it in such a way that it can also act as a summative assessment, but through the learning activities, through the project-based, assignment-based, or even this. Let's say you reduce the exam component to 20%, you can do the open-ended kind of exam, or you can do even a viva, a mini viva or interview, where you can actually ask a series of questions and they will answer promptly, face to face, and that is where you can judge not only on their cognitive, on how much they know about the content, but how they apply the concept, the principle, and so on. So it is possible to replace the exam, but we have to find different kind of ways to design the activities, assessment, so that it can reflect. In the end, the bottom line is about achieving the learning outcome, right? To me, a series of learning activities is better than having one final exam. That is my personal opinion. Okay, any more? Dr. Shah, Dr. Reza?
One more, Prof. By Dr. Isma. Can you share any apps that would encourage students to share their ideas for online exhibition?
Oh, can you share? Yang ni kan?
Dekat chat.
Yeah. 358 Prof, can you share
correct.
the apps that could encourage students to share their ideas through online exhibition? Well, online exhibition, that I know, I've seen Padlet is very popular. I'm sure everyone knows about Padlet, right? But of course, Padlet now is a bit limited. But I've seen in one of the competition at national level where people from architecture, I think, they use Padlet where the students actually can demonstrate their architecture design, their studio design, their design work on Padlet. So that can be done online. So we can have a gallery walk. We can have a gallery walk, but using Padlet as the so-called digital board. Yeah, we can use Padlet as the digital board. Okay. But Padlet is a bit limited now, so maybe we have to find other. I cannot think of other tools now, but we can explore. But I see another question here. Can you explain more about SEMA? Okay. If you want to learn more about how to integrate technology, as I mentioned just now, the SEMA model is perhaps among the popular one. Basically, how we can use the tools of technology. Remember, technologies are just enabler, just tools. A fool with a tool is still a fool. So we need to learn how to use a tool so that we become a wise person and apply it correctly. At the lowest level, we are talking about people who just embark on online learning. They just learn how to use Loom to record a PowerPoint, how to use Screencast-O-Matic to record a PowerPoint. They maybe even learn just how to record audio using a microphone. So these are the basic level. So you can use substitution. You can use technology as a direct tool, substitute with no functional change. Okay. Basically, you record the PowerPoint just like you give the lecture in the class. Put the PowerPoint on the screen and talk. So there's no functional change. We just deliver the content, but instead of standing in front of students in the classroom, now you are making it into a video. Okay, so that's a direct substitution. So when you go to the higher level, to the next level, augmentation, modification, redefinition, you actually using technology in a more and more meaningful way and impactful way. Not just a tool, but at the highest redefinition, you redefine everything. Okay, so here in the highest level redefinition, technology will allow for the creation of new tasks previously inconceivable. Previously in the face-to-face situation, you cannot even do it, but online you can do it. For example, we use tool like Mentimeter. We ask them a question and we ask the student to post 3 keywords. Okay, 3 keywords. And then, like a magic, 50 students, 3 keywords each, we have 150 words. It become a word cloud. Then from there, you can use the word cloud as a basis of discussion for the rest of your class. So in the classroom, if you ask the student to submit 3 keywords in the keynote in the piece of paper, then you try to then you come up you end up with 150 pieces of these keywords. How do you sort out and see which one has the highest frequency and so on? It's very difficult, right? So this is where the technology can do the trick, like a magic. You can just create the word cloud within seconds. So here, the technology allows for the creation of new tasks previously inconceivable in a normal face-to-face situation. So, my dear colleagues, if you are still listening, go and explore SEMA model. If you really want to use technology to the fullest potential, to its full potential, rather than using the tool of technology blindly. Okay? So I hope I have explained SEMA in a very brief way. I hope we can explore further. Okay?
Prof,
So I guess
Dr. Fong would like to ask you,
Hi, Prof. Karim.
Hey, I recognize the voice, Professor Prof.
Good afternoon. I'm from Sabaya. Okay.
I feel embarrassed, Prof.
Hey, it has been a very enlightening session.
Because you are the one who can talk about SEMA.
Prof. Karim,
Yes, go ahead.
you were talking about the three categories of our students, those having a high bandwidth or minimal bandwidth, and those absolutely no connectivity.
Yeah.
Now, in Sabah, this is a real scenario.
Yeah.
It is real.
Yeah.
So we conducted a survey for among our students. We have 17,000 students, and we could only get 5,000 over. The maximum is 6,000 to respond. So we are asking ourselves, what happened to the other 11,000 people? Apparently, they are not having any connectivity. Please remember that many of the students, for example, in Luar Bandar, in Pendalaman, in Sabah, especially in the pulau-pulau, they really have no access. In the Pendalaman, in the Luar Bandar, I heard they must go up the hill to hunt for internet line. Okay, the question is this. The rule for online teaching and learning to be allowed during this period of MCO is provided 100% of our students can access our online lesson. Whether synchronous, of course, is out. Asynchronous, hopefully, but not all can come in. So, what is your view and what is your suggestion that during this period of MCO, should online teaching and learning, whether asynchronous, using very low bandwidth content, whatever, as you have suggested, should it be conducted in the very first place? Or we wait until the end of the MCO period when some of our students come back and some other kind of alternative approach takes place? Your view, please. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a hard. Definitely, there's no definite kind of answer to that, Prof. On one hand, we want to continue with our class, but on the other hand, we don't want to deprive not even 1%, because we go by inclusiveness, the philosophy of inclusiveness. Then everyone should not be left, not one student left behind. But in this case, in your Sabah and Sarawak, there's not only one student, but a huge number of them are not reachable. But I think we can have a compromise here. I think for those in the first category and the second category here, we can still continue doing our online, but maybe more of the asynchronous and less on the synchronous. But at the same time, those who are not actually connected at all to the internet, how do we reach them out and not depriving them? So this is where I think there's an effort by the ministry now, talking to the to the telco as well as the TV station now. If, for example, if they can watch television, if their place they have no internet connection, but they have TV. So this is where the TV station now can play a role, and now the university can actually put some of their content there, so that those students can still have access. But maybe it won't be the same experience, and it won't be the same pace like the students that have access to our online normal online class. Okay? But at least they are not totally be left out or left behind, and they can still carry on with the learning process. At the same time, I think there's also an effort to send them the same content, but maybe in different format, maybe the printed format through the pen, using the pen drive, or maybe printed notes to their home, so that they can still have they can still continue doing following the learning. But again, the experience will be different, and the pace will be different. So I think we should continue, while at the same time addressing those the less fortunate through other means. That's the best answer I can give, Prof. I know that everyone is struggling, including myself. Only this morning we talk about we are preparing something with Astro, trying to have something with Astro, so that our content can reach out those to our students through this means. At the same time, we are talking about sending them the pen drive and so on.